every amount of pain there.
Something big, like a Star Wars or a Marvel.
Wouldn't have been good, but would have been like, okay.
You are at the movies with Ace
And Martin.
and welcome to our first live action episode. We were both in the same room, and what a film we decided to do this.
There's no movie that I think makes more sense for us to be in the flesh for the first time. We didn't have to go to the movies to see this.
No.
It's Netflix's very own, straight to Netflix, The Rip.
The Rip, we talk about us being a good duo. This is the movie duo back in the day.
This is the template.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
we're
really
just
is.
a mild imitation at best.
It stars Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. It's produced by their production company that also made Air and various other recent projects. But now they've dabbled into Netflix, and there's been some drama both in the plot and outside in the marketing of this, and I'm sure we'll dive into both of them, I'm sure. But for the movie itself, what'd you think?
You know, on one hand, I really wanted to enjoy this movie because it's like, not only is it kind of like a return to the 90s action movie, the 90s like thriller, it's also like a bunch of actors I really like. This cast is pretty stacked.
Yeah.
And it's Artists Equity Productions, who, despite what you want to say about Matt Damon or Ben Affleck as like individuals or as actors, like these guys care about making movies a lot, and they're trying to find a way in today's market to make successful mid-budget movies, and I applaud that effort tremendously. I think this movie sucked. I think this movie sucked. This script was so fucking bad.
Yeah, the script is the biggest guilty thing of this. I enjoyed it, but I also can't say it was great.
Yeah.
To go right into it, in the marketing up to this movie, both Affleck and Damon said on various platforms that they kind of struggled with the Netflix studio system, that they had to almost repeat lines because Netflix believes people are watching their movies on their phones, on TikTok, or they believe in multi-screen content that's happening. And I'm sure for some people, but I don't think it's enough to warrant a total reimagining of how a movie could be created, that they have to have these things. Is it a movie at that point then? Of course, with The Rip, it stars people who are exclusively in movies, like Affleck and Damon. I don't think even touch television. I only see these guys in feature films. So that alone, it feels like a movie because of its cast. But then you look at this and other Netflix projects, it really makes you wonder, and then this, inevitable Warner Brothers merger, it makes you nervous when you think about the bigger picture here.
Yeah, right. Because, I mean, say what you will about Netflix maybe being the lesser of two evils in this potential acquisition of Warner Brothers, and technically they're the ones who legally have jurisdiction over Warner Brothers in a year from now if nothing changes. But Ted Sarandos, one of the CEOs of Netflix, has said various things over the years, saying that Netflix doesn't really compete with other films. They're not interested in competing with what's in theaters. They're competing against things like video games, things like TikTok, things in your home that can take you away from being entertained by their drivel, including sleep.
And a lot of companies are going that route. Of course, I watch wrestling, but Triple H famously said when he was asked about competition recently, and he said, everything's our competition. Content is our competition. And that seems to be the mindset for a lot of people. And do you think it's counterintuitive for Affleck and Damon to be a part of a Netflix studio when they're trying to push this pro-artist agenda?
You know, I think it's wherever they can get the distribution. At the end of the day, they can throw as much of their own money at it as they're willing to, but it's got to be seen by people at the end of the day. I mean, Kiss of the Spider-Woman is a fine example of a movie that had some buzz.
It existed 5 minutes ago.
It went to festivals, and I don't know who the hell bought it for distribution. I want to say it was Focus Features or something. Mm-hmm. And it got dumped on a couple of screens. I think it opened to 1,200 theaters or 1,800 theaters or something. It made not much money at all. And, it was out of theaters in 2 weeks. And, would The Rip play probably a little bit better in theaters, like right now. Like probably.
It could.
There's not other movies like it that are out right now that have 2 stars of that nature in there. But then who's putting that in theaters? And I think that the biggest thing with Netflix, the Netflix of it all, is they are, kind of trying to be an awards contender. They're also, doing things like Squid Game and K-pop Demon Hunters that are, huge projects here in people's homes. But
those specifically have done well internationally as well, which is huge.
They're made with the international audience in mind, and then they actually win over the domestic audience as well, which I think is really like telling of where they see value. Like because this movie's probably quite successful. It's got big names in it. Everyone's still got Netflix, and everyone's watching it.
As of this recording, it's still sitting number 10 on their list, if that means anything.
I think on like the 20th or something like that.
I think so. Sitting at an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes as of this recording, which is crazy.
Yeah, is that the audience score or the critics?
The critics.
Score?
Yeah, it is a big certified fresh, and I don't know what that means. In the critical realm, I think people rather have this than a nothing, throwaway Netflix movie. At least there's something here that's worth talking about.
I feel the same way about this movie in terms of like enjoyability, like as I do Richard Linklater's Hitman that came out with Glenn Powell. What was that, 2 summers ago now?
I think so.
And it's like one of those movies that I'm like, yeah, Linklater said in an interview, he's like, yeah, this movie is supposed to be like a fun date movie that a boyfriend and a girlfriend or, 2 people with different tastes in films, regardless of their gender, can go to the cinema and see. It's date night cinema. It's back. It's a romance movie, but it's also a crime movie. And the fact that it got just dumped on Netflix for people's homes, it's because Netflix acquired that movie after he had made it.
Yeah, technically it's like a 2023 movie, I think, but was released in like the summer of 24.
Right, and it's because he screened it at festivals. I think that was a Sundance film. Yeah. And yeah, Netflix bought the rights to it. And, this feels similar to that, where it's like this seems designed to get your dad to go see a movie again.
I was about to say,
in the same way that Accountant 2 did.
Yeah, it's definitely got Sunday afternoon energy, either seeing it with your father or watching it at home. Big dad energy.
But how often does your dad go to the movies?
Not often. He saw one movie in 2025.
And it was F1?
F1.
Yeah. Exactly. So maybe this type of movie doesn't exist in a theatrical window anymore. The dads are watching movies on Netflix. They also think that Paramount is Netflix. They also think that HBO is Netflix. They just got to figure out which Netflix app it's on.
Yeah. My parents probably only did watch it because it was on Netflix. It was probably the first thing that popped up. They saw the movie stars. It's people they not only know but really like.
Yep.
So, that really, it's a thing we always talk about too on this show, is that I don't think the buying into an actor, the age of the actor is over, because why is then 50-year-old Affleck and Damon in these movies? It's obvious actors still have some clout here.
Yeah, and I wonder how in like a year from now this will be looked at, as opposed to movies like The Gray Man or like other like Netflix action movies of this caliber. I mean, granted the certified fresh rating is probably a good sign, but is this something that continues to get talked about and viewed for 6 months?
Right.
I feel like The Gray Man was kind of a big success for Netflix. Like it was one of their biggest originals.
And I feel The Rip is kind of the perfect January dump movie for Netflix, if they're getting into that, where they're gonna have kind of their own dumpuary and have their own weird projects. I think this movie's better than your typical January movie based on just entertainment alone, but it's it's not something that should be coming out in like May.
No.
So
no.
I kind of see, but yeah, the dialogue did really get to me. It was rather annoying. And I kind of wish I was paying attention to it more, because I did listen to Affleck and Damon's interview about it. I don't know if I feel like I still would have been really annoyed by it, though. The dialogue is pretty poor.
This movie's written and directed by someone who isn't Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Yes, that's a big thing.
Yeah, and it seems like that this movie was partially made as like a celebration or like a dramatization of a real life story, which is odd. It's dedicated to one of the guys.
Yeah.
It's dedicated to Ben Affleck's character, I think.
Yeah, I didn't do any research on that. Actually, I forgot it's based on a true story.
I didn't want to get angry, so I didn't do any research on it for that reason. But to get a bit of a plot summary, in case you guys didn't see it in the few weeks it's been out yet, this movie's about I guess they're kind of like an ATF unit of sorts, where they're supposed to be tracking ammunitions, drugs, firearms, that kind of stuff, and are supposed to capture it. And they're playing this team of cops that are all undercover, and they are supposed to find drugs or money and essentially bring it to the FBI. And this movie starts really weird, where like they're in the middle of this interrogation, like layered interrogation.
I thought it was like a Tarantino thing at first. I thought it was a scene that was going to be later on in the movie.
Right.
I didn't realize it was, oh, this is like the action. Like this is what causes everything.
The fact that this movie's in chronological order and it starts with some random lady getting her brains blown out in a parking lot. You know, I thought that was like going to be the ending. Like I thought it was going to loop back to there.
Very weird character, the Jackie character, where it's very hinted that her and Affleck's character had a thing, JD, and then but Matt Damon was on her team. There's this big mystery about her death, like, and they kind of paint her as this like angel at the end. It's funny that this movie is for the dads, we always say. I feel like that ending was for the mothers. Like, when the kid in the speech's name was Jackie, I'm like, this is so, like, spiritual mother, like, vibes where, like, they're just like, oh, I love this.
I was waiting for Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in that last scene to just kiss. Because, like, I don't know why the fuck else you're shooting these guys on the beach at sunrise. I mean, like, and it was like a long scene. It was like 2 minutes longer than it should have been.
I did have trouble figuring out what their relationship was, because it felt like some scenes they knew each other well, and then in other scenes they didn't.
They did know each other well, so they had been working together as a part of Jackie's unit for several years.
Right, but Damon got promoted.
Damon got the promotion, where everyone always thought that Affleck was the second fiddle. And I do like that dynamic. I think the main
funny
drama,
in real life, everybody thinks it's the other way around.
the drama between those two characters works really well for me, and maybe it's just because they're the best actors in the film. Like, they're the reason this movie's being made.
I could buy them being friends because I know they are best friends.
Yeah. I thought that their chemistry was pretty good. The rest of the team felt really underwritten. Everyone else in that seemed super half-cooked.
And a lot of potential. Like, you had good actors.
Yeah, Tiana Taylor's there, Steven Yeun's there. Like, really, really solid, I mean, Academy, Golden Globe, and Emmy-nominated actors. Like, they're all firing on all cylinders.
Like, it isn't your typical Netflix cast either. Like, they casted like they were, like, going for an Oscar run.
Yeah, they got, like fucking Kyle Chandler's there.
Yeah,
back to the basic plot summary. Essentially, it's like it's more confusing of a plot than it should be. But essentially, this team of police officers, because of the murder investigation, are not granted any overtime. The police budget's being restricted or whatever, which I have a hard time believing in Miami. Whenever this movie's supposed to be taking place, they said it's based on a true story. I'm pretty sure that true story thing happened years ago. Not in the 2010s when everyone's got a nice iPhone with Face ID. Yeah. Face ID unlocking the phone is a plot point in this movie.
Yeah. And, and there's a lot of dirty cops. They don't really trust their higher-ups either, it seems.
They don't trust the institution. They don't like working with the FBI. They don't like working with the feds. The DEA is, like, very prominent. And there's all these different, like, jurisdictions. They're, like, dunking on the cops that are for that area. They're in, like, a bad part of Miami or something. And then two of those guys roll up. But essentially, Matt Damon gets a lead that there's going to be a gigantic amount of money stowed away at this certain address. And that amount of money is up to speculation. He says to some people it's going to be $100,000. Some people it's going to be $300,000. And they end up finding $20 million in the attic of this house, and it's the cartels.
That was kind of a crazy scene. That was probably my favorite sequence of the scene when they first get to the house and they sneak up and they're interrogating the woman. And then I like that for like 5 minutes, it almost turns into a horror movie with the lights in the street coming on. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah. And I wish the movie stayed on, and then it just kind of goes into an action movie after that. I was really into that.
Yeah,
part.
my favorite parts of this movie are the entire second act. Once they get to that house,
middle.
It's got all this kind of conflict, characters breaking off into different rooms and doing different tasks. The two women are counting all the money. Steven Yeun's kind of in the way, and then Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are trying to kill each other. It's fun, and it feels almost like murder mystery. Like there's who's gonna double cross who, and I really liked the lady whose home they break into. Like I thought she was given a great performance in this as well. She kind of is like playing number 3. She's trying to pull some strings. She's pissed at the cops. I thought all of her dialogue and writing was some of the strongest in the film.
She did it was a really interesting character because at first I kind of bought that she didn't know anything. Like that they did just put it in her, especially with the dead grandmother. All of that, I'm like, okay, there could be something here.
And it seems like she doesn't know a lot, but she knows a little bit more than she's leading on.
And she's the biggest winner of the movie at the end as well.
The other members of the team, all talking about like their financial grievances, and they're like, oh man, this money right here, this little stack of bills would change my life, because they're stuck there counting with $20 million. I like the stuff at the very beginning too, where all the other different like jurisdictions are like busting each other's balls a bit.
They're just
and they're like, "Oh, you guys are the most crooked cops ever. You guys probably are pocketing all that money." And the fact that they're all honest people at the end of the day is interesting.
Yeah, were you expecting that for them to just all kind of it's a very, very optimistic ending.
This movie loses me when they start getting shot at by the cartel.
Yeah, which was different.
Then it turns into an action movie, and they start to leave the house. They pocket dial in Kyle Chandler, who shows up, and you think it's like, okay, the conflict's over. They're extracting the money before the cartel gets there, and it just, it feels like too many layers. Like, I feel like the writer of this film thought that they were way more clever than they were. Yeah. Because they do the first fake out where Matt Damon explains that he had set up the Steven Yeun character to figure out who the rat was. And
right.
Then they do like another layer and another layer. And then like by the time the duffel bags don't have money in them, I'm like, we get it.
It almost feels like a bit.
These guys were smart. You don't need to do 4 twist endings in a movie that has been painfully simple with bad dialogue.
Yeah, Affleck and Damon are kind of like superheroes in this. Like they are just smarter than everyone else times 100. Like it was very like egocentric, which does make me wonder if it was kind of like an inside job of them, where I think they knew how ridiculous this was and they saw the Netflix restrictions, and in a wrestling term, maybe they just put themselves over.
Yeah, part of me thinks that, I mean, I could see Ben Affleck doing a movie like this.
He got to show off his back tattoo in this.
I feel like this movie would have been so much better if he directed it.
Yeah.
Like this.
And if he wrote it.
Yeah, if he wrote it or at least punched up the script more than I'm sure he did. I can tell by the performances that him and Matt Damon punched up their dialogue quite a bit. Yeah. They didn't care about the other characters.
No. That's probably why they felt like just unstoppable superheroes in this, because they had the best lines, they had the best scenes.
They also probably filmed this in like 20 days.
Yeah.
It's almost all one location.
Yeah, that's true. And it's in Miami, could have been shot in LA.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they filmed it fucking in Tibet for...
It looked like any street in like GTA 5.
Or 6.
Yeah, or no, we'll never know.
What did you think of the twist villain?
As in Kyle Chandler's kind of being the guy behind it all. Just really underwritten. It didn't really work for me. I accidentally hit the pause. This is the worst thing about Netflix movies, is when you accidentally hit the pause button and then you realize there's 23 minutes left. And I accidentally paused it before Kyle Chandler was revealed to be part of it all. And I paused. I'm like, there's 23 minutes left. This isn't the ending. So there's got to be something just stupid here. And I think that kind of warranted off. It had nothing to do with the movie, but that's the fear that releasing a movie on streaming is, that it could change your perspective. Maybe you do like this movie a little more if you're forced to sit there and not like think about anything else. I don't know.
When was the last time you saw an action movie of this caliber in theaters? Like something similar to this that feels very like Michael Mann 90s action movie. Jerry Bruckheimer produced action movie.
That's a good question.
The first one that comes to mind for me is like The Accountant. But I'm sure I've seen something more recent
that'd
than
be
that.
a decade ago.
Yeah.
Like something that has this, like, I feel like 999, that was a Netflix original.
I'm trying to think if there's any Rock movies I saw. Like, didn't The Rock have a movie called The Snitch? But I never saw it.
Yeah. Because this movie's not a Fast and the Furious. It has a couple of shots where it looks
anything
like
I'm thinking of has an IP. Like, the first thing that came to my head was Winter Soldier.
Yeah. That was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, this really is kind of a rare movie. This movie feels to me like one of those that got made right before COVID and got dumped to streaming.
It does feel like
it
a
feels
COVID
it feels
type
a
movie.
step above some of the past few years of like writer strike garbage movies.
Yeah.
But it doesn't quite feel like we're in the echelon of like pre-COVID, like mid-budget stuff.
Remember the Evil Dead movie that came out during the early 2020s? That felt like such a COVID movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like one location, like 3 characters.
Evil Dead Rise,
I think
is what
it's
it's
so.
called.
Not a terrible movie, but it was so distracting because I figured out exactly how they shot it, and that bothers me. The Rip doesn't have that, at least. Like, everything felt intentional, whether good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like a budgetary decision to set it in like one location for as long as it does.
Yeah.
The few times they call to someone else and it cuts to them, it's Kyle Chandler like arresting people on like a side of a street. Like, it's not like there is like a big chase at the end. It looks kind of shitty.
Yeah,
there's a lot of like lack of other cars and traffic and extras and people.
I could have done without the car chase. I think that was a jumping the shark moment.
So yes, there's a pretty decent, like, after they get through the plot twists and character reveals, this movie just falls apart at the end for me.
Yeah.
Because they have this, like, drama, intense, like, guns are pointed at people in the back of an armored truck. They then reveal that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were the smartest guys of all time and already knew this. And then Ben Affleck calls his brother, and then his brother's like, yep, we're here. And then they stay on speakerphone, and then another layer of the twist where they find out who kills Jackie happens.
I was waiting for his brother to pull a gun on Affleck.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, what could get more ridiculous here?
And it just gets ridiculous. And like, why didn't we cast Casey Affleck as Ben Affleck's brother in this? He would have been perfect.
Yeah.
That would have been a fun role for Casey.
I think,
Is he back or not? I'm confused.
haven't seen him in anything since Oppenheimer, and now we are going on 2 years now.
Did he just get like a pass for that, 4-line of dialogue role?
Nothing's been the same since Manchester by the Sea's release. So maybe we just keep Casey away.
All right. Well, anyway, yeah. After that, so they're stopped by the FBI.
Yeah.
And then the guy takes off in the armored truck again.
Yep.
And then the other guy, Steven Yeun, takes off on foot.
Yeah, somehow gets through a sea of bullets without a hit on him.
Well, and he's already been shot twice.
Yeah.
And then runs into the woods, and old man Matt Damon has to chase after him.
And I think...
And Ben Affleck steals his brother's van and chases after the armored truck? What's the FBI doing?
Yeah, they're
all
just standing there.
They're like, yeah, we shot a whole bunch of bullets, but then we're done.
And there's no helicopters to follow
There
them.
were.
Yeah, like there's no backup. They all parked on that one block.
It felt so cheap. Like, really underwritten, really cheap. You don't have the FBI show up until the very end. Like, what are we doing? This is screenwriting 101. they tried to do this thing, like they tried to do the ending of Heat, where it's just the Pacino and Robert De Niro final standoff at the airport, but they don't have the capability to do that because they've already introduced the FBI. They've already been like stopped in the middle of the chase.
Yeah, introducing the FBI in the middle there, always having an out where he could have always called the command and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You look at something like Point Break, you think it's just Keanu and Gary Busey the whole time until they're in Australia and the FBI finally shows up. Like, it has to be, you have to feel like your characters are stranded. And never I thought they were stranded.
Yeah, because there's all these talks of, well, they take everyone's phones, which, like, I was like, oh, good, so we're not going to have people on their phones the whole movie.
Right.
But then the two characters that have phones, every other scene, they're on phones. And I'm like, okay, well, there was no point of not having phones then.
He seriously did not think Affleck took his phone when they were fighting. And he just thought he lost it.
Yeah,
and
just,
then moved
I left
on.
it in there. Let me
Like-
start a fire.
Yeah, like... Yeah, I forgot they burned that poor grandmother's home down.
The best part of this movie is the second act when Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are pinned against each other and they're starting to try to they start to get aggressive with each other and suspect each other of killing Jackie themselves, and you know who's trying to screw up this Rip and all that kind of stuff. And you learn that like Matt Damon's son has died of cancer and his marriage has fallen apart, and like he seems pretty broken in this movie. Like Matt Damon's not
Yeah.
his like usual charming, likable self. It's almost like, I mean, I guess since Ben Affleck's character's so hot-headed, I bet you they both were like, oh, which one do you want to play?
Yeah.
Both of these felt like they could have both been Ben Affleck. I'm really happy this wasn't like a twin movie where there's two of them.
They just do Sinners, but it's two Ben Affleck.
But yeah, I mean, Matt Damon was really giving it his best, like, yeah, I'm punished and kind of grizzled.
Yeah.
But he's still the more likable of the two.
You know, they were definitely doing a good cop, bad cop the whole time. Affleck's just a dickhead to that woman the whole time once they get into that house. There are some really good scenes with Matt Damon where you are like, oh, is he just gonna take the money? He's got nothing to lose. He's got, a dead
I
son.
thought it would be cool if he turned out to, want to rob the whole thing.
Yeah.
This was like his get out plan. Like, I don't know. The fact that this is a movie where the good guys all get out in the end and no one really dies. The only character who dies in this movie is Kyle Chandler.
Yeah. And he's the only character that killed somebody too.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like an eye for an eye movie rules.
It almost just feels like there's some sort of like Hays Code, or like you can make a movie that should be gritty, but the good guy cops have to win at the end, and there's no the twist villain can die, but
Everything was just tied
random-
together with a bow, just a little too much.
This is too clean of a movie.
When they're driving off with the actual buckets of money, I was like, do they just have the money now?
I finally have an answer for you. The last mid-budget action movie of this caliber that I saw in theaters, and it was Caught Stealing with Austin Butler.
Right.
And,
And you liked it.
good
Yeah.
movie. It wasn't like a masterpiece. It wasn't great, but that movie also made like $8 million on a $30 million budget.
Yeah.
It didn't work. But like that movie had some gravity to it. It had stakes. Characters that you think are gonna live through the movie get their head blown off halfway through.
I have a bold question for you.
Yes.
Are action movies kind of dead? Have we seen it all? Is that the issue?
No.
No? Okay.
No, definitely not. I mean, Sicario wasn't that long ago.
What's the...
2013.
I'm trying to think of the most impressive set piece I've seen in the last 15 years.
Sicario's got a couple that are pretty high up there. The opening scene where they're raiding the house and they find all those bodies in the wall is fucking crazy. And then the scene where they're stuck in traffic at the border and they don't know which car is going to start shooting at them.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I feel like there's a certain like shift in action where you had like movies like True Lies and all these 90s action movies, and then we kind of hit a block when Nolan blows up that truck and flips it in The Dark Knight, and it was like, oh shit, like this could be action movies now, and now everything kind of has to go that route for a while.
Yeah.
But now The Rip is kind of a throwback to that pre-Nolanism, where it's a little more ridiculous in some of the action in that. And I don't know if that works for audiences anymore.
Yeah, I mean, another movie that underperformed that I'd say is around this caliber is The Amateur with Lawrence Fishburne and Rami
Yeah.
Malek that came out last year. And they showed off some set pieces in the trailer. The one with the swimming pool, like balcony, like infinity pool.
Yes,
And he's
that
able
looked
to
cool.
hack it so the glass breaks. Like, that's all cool and stuff, but I think the spectacle, is like what you're really getting at.
Yeah.
It's like, have we done it all? I don't think the spectacle is as impressive today with doing that with like CGI as it would have been with like if this movie came out in the 80s, they would have done this with like a practical wide angle and probably a dummy, and then actually had broken the glass, and then you would have seen the dummy fall to a mattress or something.
And I think there are like boomers and Gen Xers that want movies like these more and more.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're just connecting to Gen Z. Like, what is a great action movie that Gen Z connected to in the past decade?
Like, broadly speaking,
Yeah. Like, what really hit the zeitgeist for people, between 19 and 29?
yeah, I mean, it's definitely not John Wick. That's for the boomers.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like it's for the boomers and, like, the cinephiles.
all of the like action kung fu shit that's in like Everything Everywhere All at Once is
Okay.
like, it seems like Gen Z like that despite never seeing a Hong Kong movie in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know what the modern audience, like young audience,
And maybe
looks
they're-
for in these.
Maybe they're still trying to look for it, at the same time. Like, critically, this movie did well. It'd be interesting to see if it has any lasting impact.
Like the last action sequence that I remember people talking about, like everyone wouldn't shut up about it for several years, was in Daredevil season 2 when they have the hallway fight scene, which is pretty much a rip from the Raid. But they do this impressive one-er with Charlie Cox Daredevil fighting a bunch of people in a hallway.
Yeah.
I can't think of like and that's TV and that's Netflix and that's like TV's kind of jumped to the point where it's closer to cinema and it's not quite all the way there yet, but I think the stuff that people find more impressive is is coming from mediums that aren't wide theatrically released films.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think action movies, I think they just might have to evolve again. I think we've just reached that ending of like what Nolan kind of started with The Dark Knight, and then we saw it in Winter Soldier, John Wick. I feel like we've hit another wall, and every genre goes through this. And I think horror just went through a transition period.
Action movies really are at their peak when studios aren't afraid to take risks on like original ideas. I feel like the action movie, like franchise action, doesn't necessarily work quite as well as one-off.
And
stories.
it gets shoved into a bunch of other genres these days. I mean,
Yeah.
you could say Star Wars is an action movie like these days. It's like it's just everywhere now.
Yeah.
And even in script writing, it's like most studios want some kind of action every like 10 pages, and that's been happening since like the 90s.
Another element that makes it hard is one of the things I really don't like about this movie is it's the police of it all. Like the movie takes a pretty neutral stance. It's not
Yeah.
like glorifying cops. There's a couple of dirty ones in the movie.
Yeah, it's incredibly like just down the middle, neutral. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
very grounded.
the
It's
fact
just
that
about
all
this
these
one group.
characters win, though, it feels like propaganda. It feels like, oh, as long as there's good people that are cops, everything's gonna work out in the end. Even the poor Hispanic woman that gets disenfranchised, she gets 20% of 20 million. So it all works out when the good cops do their job, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, it was just it just felt like such an optimistic ending for like the whole movie being like you can't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel like that type of
It
movie.
doesn't have the drama or even the intrigue of a 90s cop movie.
Yeah.
This movie feels cleaner and safer than a cop movie 30 years ago would have been. Like, Internal Affairs is grittier than this. Heat is grittier than this.
When he took off his badge, I thought he was going to throw it in the ocean like Johnny Utah at the Point Break. I thought because I always pictured like Utah did that and he was just going to go like become like kind of
Football
like
player again.
yeah, and kind of go and kind of become this like kind of drifter type like Bodhi was or something like that. And I thought that was gonna happen to Damon, where he was like, I was the good guy, but he had this really good line that was like, I often think about the years that have passed and how much I got left. I thought like, oh, is this like a pro, like, you're not done yet, Unc. You could still have a happy life. Like, you don't have to like commit to this for the rest of your life if you're not happy.
Yeah. I thought some of the best elements of that theming came from Kyle Chandler's character. Like once he got and he was still trying to find a way to like, oh, I can cut you guys in. Like no one has to know. About
You're on speaker, right?
Yeah. like that element of it was like, oh, this does feel like the guy who's holding on a little too much.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, oh, there's so much more opportunity in life. But yeah, they didn't even have the balls to be like, you know what? Because they found out that one of their best friends was a dirty cop and killed their shared best friend / lover. Maybe we don't be cops anymore. They don't even like get to that point. They just sit on the beach and drink Budweiser and watch a little girl play with a dog.
Or the bare minimum, they leave that division. Like they go become something else, like just straight up detectives or something. I don't know. It just felt it's just really optimistic, and I just really didn't see it coming.
What did you give this one over on Letterboxd?
I gave it a very generous 3.5. I don't know why.
Okay.
I think I like Affleck and Damon. Like I just enjoy watching them more than most actors, modern actors. Like I'm sorry, do better. I don't know what to tell you.
Fair enough. I thought this movie worked better in some places than others. I don't think it entirely is bad, but this is a 2 for me. This is a 2-star movie.
I think that's very fair.
I would rather watch like Live by Night or something that Ben Affleck has directed that is just not quite as good.
I have a good question for you. Yeah. In this post Affleck and Damon were so back together, out of the 3 they've acted together in since Last Duel, how would you rank them?
So since Last Duel, we've got this, Air, and
Last Duel.
Oh, Last Duel. Air is probably the best movie of the 3. The Last Duel, I think, is also just more.
I think
it's got more to say.
Yeah,
it's doing more.
It's got more going for it.
I would say, yeah, I'd say that's the order. I don't know. The Rip isn't a bad movie for a movie that's straight to streaming. It reminds me a lot of the Shane Black movie Parker. What was that called? The Mark Wahlberg and Lakeith Stanfield joint.
Oh.
This was a little more tonally solid.
Yeah.
It didn't like switch genres halfway through twice.
Yeah.
But the action set pieces in that were better. The writing was better.
I think I kind of rated this compared to other streaming movies. I think this is better than most streaming movies.
For sure.
Yeah. I think that's why I gave it a generous
if I'm rating
rating.
this within the parameters of a Netflix original film,
Yeah.
this is a 4 stars.
Yeah. And lighting, fantastic. It had some great shots. Compared Netflix lighting, I'm talking about. Like, it looked like a movie. I was like, wow, this is for Netflix. This is really nice.
Not to sound like a total jackass. Bridgerton season 4. They actually hired a cinematographer.
That's good.
No, it looks.
Maybe the future's bright then.
I literally think that Netflix is like, look, we can't be pumping out this like flat lighting dog shit forever.
And it's not just the Netflix thing. Devil Wears Prada's lighting. Somebody was doing a comparison of that with the original, and it's, oh my god, it's night and day.
Well, we don't have cinematographers anymore. We've got guys who know how to use fancy cameras, and then like their friend who's a gaffer who's like LEDs. We don't use like fucking lights anymore.
For the amount of people who do not shut up about Roger Deakins, nobody's becoming the next Roger Deakins. Like, that's a problem.
I hate how many of the fucking cinematographers working today are just camera nerds. I don't give a fuck about what camera you're using. Light the shot!
Exact. Yeah, we're so pro, and going back a little harp on James Cameron, but we're so pro, like, we need to get the best technology. We need the IMAX cameras. But if you don't light it, it doesn't matter.
I don't care if you shoot in fucking VistaVision or on your phone. Just light it! Yeah, this was better than the average Netflix movie in terms of lighting. I still thought its lighting decisions were whack. Why was one side of the house green the entire movie? There's the wide shot where the building's on fire, and it's still just green. Because they had all that motivated light while they were in the garage, which was like green behind them. And I'm like, why?
I liked all the lights that in the garage, and then the shooting started.
Yeah.
Which probably should have give them the tell that it wasn't the cartel, because that was way too like that was a group of like SWATs. Like it was pretty apparent. Yeah, based on just movies, definitely. I was definitely a little too generous about it, but not a terrible way to kick off the year though. Our first 2026 movie we've reviewed on screen.
Yeah. No, I definitely. I mean, if my dad hasn't seen it yet, he should check it out sometime.
You know, with this and Iron Lung, this more like pro artist, Iron Lung was way more of a passion project, but I'd rather support these and give them a platform than most.
Yeah, I agree. I just when the people are as talented as Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are, if they spent 2 extra months on this, or I guess a whole year of Ben Affleck's life, and he directed this, I would have liked it so much more.
And I mean, hopefully this does mean whatever they're doing next is going to be really good. This felt like a one for you type of movie. Like, here you go, Netflix. Now, help
shit
us.
all over you on the press.
Shit all over you on the press tour. Now give us like half money to make our next good project.
Yeah, I hope you're right. Yeah.
I am curious what they do next, if they continue, whether they continue the partnership or they go off on their own again. They seem like they're into this. Doesn't seem like Damon wants to do a Jason Bourne movie anytime soon. Affleck ain't coming back as Batman. I think this is their thing.
Yeah, you don't think you don't think Zack Snyder's gonna get one more?
Never say never. If the Netflix deal went a different way, I think that we'd be having a different conversation about that, actually.
I feel like there's a world where we see the Dark Knight Returns movie adaptation like 10 years down the line with an old man.
I think that would have been the Paramount deal. I think they would have dropped James Gunn and would have done something like that.
Wow. Yeah, that would have been wild.
Yeah, that's scary. It's a lose-lose.
Yeah, and hopefully this will be a big year for Matt Damon. We got the Odyssey coming out right around the corner. A lot of familiar faces if you're used to seeing these guys work.
Yeah, do you think Affleck's in it?
No.
No? Not even a little?
Did you hear the thing of him visiting set?
No.
So Christopher Nolan obviously runs pretty close sets.
Right.
Ben Affleck was like humble bragging that he went and visited Matt Damon like one of the first weeks on set, and Christopher Nolan was like, yeah, I was really pissed off by that. No one's welcome at my set. So the fact that Ben Affleck just
So there might be a beef.
Yeah. The fact that he just randomly showed up. Probably like hungover or whatever the fuck he's doing when he's taking those long cigarette drags and looks depressed as shit and is like walking around. I think Ben Affleck's got the directing bug again. I think he's gonna make something soon.
Yeah.
He's made great movies.
Yeah.
He's directed better movies than anything he's been the star in.
His worst movies are still better than like 90% of most things that come out in theaters.
Live by Night's not great, but I would watch that again before I watch The Rip again.
Yeah. Yeah, even something like Air, like that's a better biopic than most biopics we get like on screen.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So that's The Rip.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting convo, but yeah. If you're into that sort of like action and just kind of want something to watch on Netflix, not a bad pick at all. This has been another edition of At the Movies with Ace and Martin. No outro,
No.
even live action.
Even in person, there's not one.
Nope.